Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be going over the process of making this winged dragon that I was commissioned for. First thing I always do is sculpt the head and feet. I use Super Sculpey, but you can use any clay that you prefer. I start by covering a piece of tin foil that I use for the base of the head in clay. I do this for two reasons, the first being it saves you clay, and the second being that the pieces will bake more evenly in the oven since it won't be as thick. Once I'm all done sculpting, I bake the clay in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for around 30 to 45 minutes. Clay pieces are attached to the armature, it's time to start building up the body. I use quilt batting for this step, and I just cut it into long strips and slowly wrap it around the wire over and over until the body is as thick as I want it. Quilt batting sticks to itself, so there's no need for tape or glue or anything like that. that's done, I cut out the fabric for the body. I lay the dragon on top of the fabric and cut the entire length of the dragon, making sure it's wide enough to wrap around the body. I then cut slits for the limbs to slide through, and after that, I just trimmed the edges down until it fits nice and snug around the body and then sew straight down the middle. I repeat the same steps for all the limbs as well. I cut the fabric the length of the leg and then trim it down until it's nice and snug. And then I sew typically from feet up to the body, and then I use a ladder stitch to join the leg and body fabric together. Once sewing is done, I like to trim down the fur. I do this by using a pet shaver, as it really helps to get the bulk fur all off. And once it's all off, I go back in with some scissors and do a detail trim of anything the shaver missed, typically around the legs, just to make sure the bends are easily seen. painting, I just use various acrylic paints, so any brand will work, any type will work. As long as it's acrylic paint, you'll be fine. But I mean, I guess you can use any paint you want, really. It doesn't have to be acrylic, but that's just what I use. I decided to make the horns out of Instamorph. Instamorph are these little plastic pellets that you melt in very hot water, and they can be shaped into pretty much whatever you want. It's perfect for things like horns, as if this was to ever fall, they won't break since they won't be made out of clay. Just be careful if you use this stuff. As I mentioned, it's very hot and you should probably wait until it's cooler to the touch. But I'm too impatient, and don't be like me because I'd burn myself plenty of times. For the wings, I wanted to try to make them a little poseable, so I started wrapping thin wire around the bone wire that I've already made, and I wrapped enough just for the primary feathers, as those were the only ones that I really wanted to move. And once that was finished, I just slid each feather onto the wire and then secured it with glue. Fur to cover up the wires and to give something for the smaller feathers to attach to. I would just slowly layer them on one by one, making sure not to use too much glue, as I wanted there to still be some movement, and if you use too much then it's just going to feel funny and it just won't really look right. This method was alright for my first go, but I definitely want to figure out a better method so it's more sturdier and it can be easily poseable. Once all the feathers were glued onto the fabric, I'd like to go back with the pet shaver and trim it down so it's not as thick and that the transition from the fur to the feathers looks a little nicer. After all that, the dragon is done. Before this video is over, I'd just like to give a shout out to my patrons on my Patreon page. I really appreciate all of your help and input. Patreon is a site where you can pledge a certain amount to support artists that you love, and you get special perks and exclusive content that you won't get anywhere else. There's already a few exclusive videos over there, hint, hint. If any of you guys would like to check it out, there will be a link in the description. Also, I wanted to say, if you guys are ever inspired or find these videos helpful and you end up making an art doll, I would absolutely love to see them. Tag me on Instagram at KB Creations so I can check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!